Well, hello and welcome to episode 85 of Drink the Movies. I'm Brian here as always with Michaela. Michaela, you have traveled out west. You are a mile high right now, but how are you doing? Are you adjusting to the altitude okay? Are you having anything good to drink? What'd you watch on the airplane? Tell us
Oh,
all the things.
all the things. Okay, so the Emmys came out. The Emmy nominations came out yesterday, I
Yes,
believe.
they did. They did.
And I have a lot of catching up to do. I love a good limited series. You know that well. And we've
Hmm.
talked a lot about series that are amazing. Better Call Saul got nominated again. There's a bunch of good stuff out there, but I'm really behind in limited series. So I've been catching up on a couple of things. I finished the 4-part series, The Night Stalker, which is not up for an Emmy.
Mm.
It's kind of a documentary. It's very, very dark. And of course, it's about Richard Ramirez and true crime, and it's very heavy. But I love true crime, so I had to watch it. However, I did start, and I'm in the middle of Inventing Anna. I'm probably the last
Oh,
person in
okay.
the world that has not seen it, and I really like the makeup of it. I don't like the story because I think it's awful, but I do
Yeah.
like the acting and the way that it's edited to kind of splice this woman's kind of triple, quadruple, quintuple lives together as she
Hmm.
cons people out of millions of dollars, and does it seamlessly until the end. I
Yes.
really like that. So, and the main actress is amazing. Her name, she's
Yeah,
Ruth, actually, from
from
Ozark.
Ozark, yeah.
Julie Gardner. Oh my God.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the full disclosure, I wasn't gonna watch it because I didn't love the way her voice sounds, because Anna Sorokin, or whatever her actual name is, she has this very strange accent where no one can figure out where she's from. They're like, is she Russian? Is she German? Is she an heiress? Like, well, who is she?
Hmm.
But after the first episode, it sat right in with me, and it did really well. And she is just epically good. I mean, Julie Garner
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
something else. She was amazing in Ozark. She's amazing in this. I can't not wait to see what else she does. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing. And I have been drinking things. I went out to a very nice dinner by myself last night, and
Mm.
I love that. And I went and I had one of your favorite drinks, an Aperol Spritz.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it was very nice. So I took some fun pictures. This is a good place to go for beer too. They do a lot of breweries. So I'm on a beer scouting tour at some point today. So I'll be sending you more pictures and recommendations from the Mile High City.
Yes, very jealous of that. Yeah, they do have some excellent breweries out there. So definitely check those out and report back to me what you're able to drink. And, maybe throw a can or a bottle or two in your luggage to bring back to us. That would be well appreciated. But yeah, same for us, really. We've just been catching up on some TV. We binged through the entire season of The Bear, which is the new show on Hulu about the restaurant chef. Is played by Lip from played by a Lip from Shameless is where I know him from. But Jeremy Allen White, he's awesome. I really like him, and that show is really great. Probably helps if you have a little bit of familiarity with the way that commercial kitchens work to kind of get into it. But really good. We binged through that. What We Do in the Shadows just started back up on its new season last night, which is great. And of course, that's brought to us at least in part by Taika Waititi, who is the going to be a big part of the focus of this week's movie as we talk about the next installment in the Thor franchise. But before we hop into making cocktails, this week on the Lobby Bar, Michaela, I tasked you with watching the trailer for Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. And I challenge you not to cry during it. And you need to report back to me and the people listening. Are you excited to see Marcel now? Are you going to be able to make it through this movie? Any chance at all?
No, I mean, no, there's no chance. I can't wait to watch it. But yeah, I mean, you know me well, and I cried like a baby watching the first couple of minutes. What is it about um Phil Collins music lately that just brings about an emotion? It is emotive music, I tell you. And I don't know what it is, because it's not like I'm a huge, I mean, I love Phil Collins. Phil Collins, if you're listening, I love you. But I mean, it's been 30 years since I've really heard you. But man, every time they played it so well against kind of the story that they were telling. I can't wait to watch it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it in a theater because no one wants to see this with a sobbing Michaela
you
behind them.
you will not be able to see it in public for sure, for sure. But yeah, so that was pretty fun. Looking forward to that. But we're looking forward to this week's cocktail. So why don't we take a quick break? We will head out to Ragnarok and see if we can whip up something good for this week's film. We'll be right back.
So this week, we are making up a cocktail that only Thor could love. It's a 2-part cocktail from one of the most fun cocktail YouTube channels around, Secrets of the Booze. We've done a couple of cocktails from them, or inspired cocktails from them. We love them. They're great. Secrets of the Booze. If you're listening, tell us more secrets next week. I really love this show. The people who are making the drinks are always so incredibly excited to put these drinks together, and this one is no different. This is really a fun one because it looks cool. We'll talk about how it tastes, but it looks really cool, and it's got it's got everything that Thor needs. It's got like a stein, and it's got like a little hammer drink, like just a shot to
a little baby hammer. That's right. Yeah.
It's so cute. I love it.
It is cute. Yeah, and that YouTube channel is fun, so go check them out. We will put a link to that down in the show description, so go give it a watch. But yeah, it's fun if you like kind of like pop culture and cocktails collide. So it is definitely right up our alley. And this drink, like you said, is going to be right up Thor's alley. It is a hefty drink. It is titled the God of Thunder and a little baby Mjölnir, which is what Thor needs if he's going to be going into Omnipotent City and battling Zeus and battling Gorr, the God Butcher. You're gonna need to load up on some drinks, and this is a hefty one. So Michaela, you and I got together, we whipped one of these up, and it is in 2 parts. One is going to require a stein, one is going to require a shot glass. Why don't you I'll take care of the stein because you had to get something sparkly for the shot glass, so I'll let you take care of that one. So what we're going to be putting in the stein is you're going to take 4 ounces of mead. You can use any mead that you want. I will say the one that we used was kind of like a berry forward one. I think this would be better if you just had like a regular, just a plain old just honey mead, just a straight up mead. But 4 ounces of whatever mead you want, 1.5 ounces of spiced whiskey, and a little tiny splash of grenadine. That's just going to kind of color it up and make it kind of this rusty color looking thing. You're going to put that into a shaker tin with some ice, shake it up, and then dump the whole thing, ice and all, into your stein glass. It's going to be kind of frothy. It's going to be kind of, like I said, rust colored a little bit almost. And it's going to be spicy and meaty. Perfect for the God of Thunder himself.
Yes. Absolutely. And then for Mjölnir, not to be confused with Mjölnir, okay? Not the same things. For Mjölnir, you need some silver and black metallic powder. You can get that on Amazon. You can buy it at kind of any fancy food stores. It's edible glitter, basically, okay? And it's really fun.
Yeah. It's probably in like the baking aisle, I would guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to get some silver and black. You're going to set that aside. What this shot is half a shot of gin and half a shot of blue curacao. And you are going to add the ingredients into the shot glass and then go ahead and put the silver and black metallic powder in, give it a stir with a little toothpick. And you need the toothpick because that's the handle to your Mjölnir. It's so cute. And he who shall drink this shall be worthy. Rah!
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And you do feel pretty worthy. Let's talk about the mug part first. Like I mentioned, probably want to use like a plain mead. Like we'd used some sort of berry mead. I don't remember the exact composition of it, but it was pretty good. I think it would be better if we kind of stripped out some of those other flavors a little bit, but it was nice. It felt very Vikingly, I guess, as we were drinking it. It had a nice spice from that whiskey. What did you think about it, Michaela?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a little sweet. I think you're right. I think if we had been able to find like just a regular mead that didn't have any extra berry flavor in it, because I think ours was a blueberry one, and it definitely added to the color because it was a darker mead versus a lighter color. And so ours was kind of a dark rust, which kind of reminds me of Thor's cape. At first, I couldn't quite figure out. I obviously understood the
Mm.
Mjolnir part, but I couldn't quite figure out why we were making it red. And now I get it because in his original costume, he has this big flowy red cape. Anyway, it was good. I liked it. It was a little sweet though, and so you could either change it up or do what it actually says and find some honey mead. That might make it less sweet. Or maybe add something to it to cut the sweetness. Because the 4 ounces, it doesn't look like a really big drink, but by the end of it, you're very full of it.
Yeah, it's pretty hefty, as you would expect for something called the God of Thunder, that you're going to be drinking out of a stein. And let's talk about the little Mjolnir shot. It's very adorable. You get the metallic powder in there, and it gives it kind of this shimmery, kind of steely, blue looking with the blue curacao and the gin. And I'm not really one for shots, so I kind of sipped mine. This would be better if it was ice cold, I think. So you might want to throw those ingredients into a shaker, shake them up with some ice, and then strain it out into your shot glass. That's going to help it go down a little bit easier. But gotta be honest, Michaela, did not love the blue curacao and gin combination.
Yeah, it was not my favorite. I did it one more time because that's what you do. And I did make it nice and cold before I poured it in and then added the glitter, and it was much better.
Hmm.
But it's still like you should shoot this. You should not sip it because it's not going to change. The flavor's not going to change. It's not a cocktail, right? And you're not a shot person really anyway, but yeah, you should just shoot this and be like, oh, it's so cute, and down the hatch, because it's not bad, but it's certainly not something that you want to sip more than twice.
Uh, that's that's right.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Just take Mjolnir and smash it into your face, as Jane, aka
Mighty Thor.
Mighty, yeah, Jane, aka Mighty Thor would say. But yeah, we have these made. They're pretty fun. Go check out that YouTube channel. But now, Michaela, we have our Mjolnir. We're feeling very godly with our Stein here. Why don't we take a quick break, and we will be right back to talk about this week's film, Thor: Love and Thunder.
Spoiler warning for Thor: Love and Thunder. If you've not yet seen Thor: Love and Thunder and you don't want to know anything about it, you should stop now. You should go make yourself a God of Thunder and his cute little baby Mjölnir and come back and we can chat about it.
That's right. Get those cocktails made up and then head out to the movie theater and see it, because this one did just come out. It released on July the 8th, 2022. It was directed by Taika Waititi, and it stars Chris Hemsworth is back as Thor. Natalie Portman is back as Jane Foster, and it introduces us to Gorr the God Butcher, played by Christian Bale. And Michaela, Thor is a family favorite for you guys. Thor has been around for a while, 4 times. He's homed his own movie now, going all the way back to 2011.
That's right. That's right. And it's interesting because they do let everybody know that time has passed in this show. They're like, hey, it's been a long time. Here's all the things. I love so Taika Waititi plays this rock guy. Bob,
Yeah,
is his name Bob?
His name is Korg, but Bob was close. Bob the Rock Guy is also a good
Bob.
name.
Yeah. So Korg kind of tells some of the story. He sets the scene. And I do love that part of this film because he's like, let me tell you about the legend of Thor, and this is what Thor did. So if you did miss or just don't remember the first couple of Thor movies, this helps you kind of figure it out. So you don't miss anything really by not watching those, which is important because they were, the first one came out 10, 11 years ago. So
yeah, that's right. So we had Thor in 2011. Dark World came out in 2013. Ragnarok, also directed by Taika Waititi, was in 2017. And then 2022, Love and Thunder. So it's been 5 years since we've last seen them. And yeah, I really do like those little legends of, we get a legends of Thor, we get a legend of Jane Foster, who he calls Jane Fonda, and then Jodie Foster later, which is pretty funny. And my favorite is the Thor kind of recap, the legend of Mighty Thor, because it's set to Enya, which is incredible. And it also, like I said, it introduces us to Gorr the God Butcher, played by Christian Bale. Pretty excellent. And that's who gets us started off. We meet our villain right away, kind of crawling through the desert, loses his daughter, and is basically taken into, I don't really really know. He stumbles upon the realm of the gods. He asks them for help. They basically laugh at him and they're like, "Yeah, we're not gods aren't really into helping you, by the way, but thanks for worshiping us." So Gorr, he gets granted this mighty sword that is capable of killing the gods. Although eventually it's going to kill him. But what are you going to do? You get a sword like that, you're going to use it to kill the gods, and he becomes the God Butcher.
That's right. That's right. Now, one thing I did really like about this is it does show, um, kind of like in the first Thor, when you can, the enemy is really his brother,
Mhm.
Loki, right? This one shows the backstory of who Gorr was, and it's actually heartbreaking. He's on this desert planet, right? His daughter dies like of thirst, and the whole time he's praying, and then he goes to their version of heaven. Or he finds this oasis in the middle of the desert. That God was not cool. Every atheist on the planet is like, that's what it's really like, guys. It was horrible. He's like, I've been worshiping you for my entire life. I lost my daughter and I never stopped being faithful. This God sucked. That God sucked. Okay. And he got what he deserved. And but now you start worrying about all the other gods, because this really like cool looking necro sword. What is it? It's I don't know what it's like it's not
It's
the necromancer, but it's like, I think it's called the necro sword, maybe. It's
yeah.
like dark black and it looks all like shiny oils coming out of it, and it
Mhm.
it can kill any god. And so and obviously Christian Bale is amazing. I was wondering when he was going to jump in this Marvel universe, because everybody else and their mother has. So I'm glad he picked this character, because he does a really good job of being super evil and just like the monster that's under your bed. He's really great.
Yeah, he really leans into it, and it's pretty awesome. But yeah, so that kind of sets up who our bad guy of the film is going to be. He is on a mission to basically just go around and kill all of the gods. That's what he's up to. And then we catch up with Thor, who has been running around. After Endgame, he's been running around with the Guardians of the Galaxy, helping them fight. You get a kind of a fun little scene there where they're having a battle where he's basically kind of prompted into war. You get Korg is doing like the background of how he like got back into shape and all of this stuff, and then he's just waiting to be called into battle. And then of course you get Quinn coming to call him into battle. He goes out and he's just kind of standing around for a while everyone's dying, and then he just goes and single-handedly kills like this entire army, destroys a big shrine, much to everyone's chagrin. But you get the greatest gift of all, which are some shrieking goats, who are going to be pretty pivotal to the rest of the film, because they're going to help pull around your boat.
Yeah,
What did you like the shrieking goats, Michaela?
I did. Well, no, I mean, no one in the theater enjoyed the shrieking goats, let's be honest. But they were
I love
hilarious.
I
They were
love the shrieking
hilarious.
goats.
I mean, it's it was that part was really funny. The comic relief was the gift that kept giving, certainly, with the shrieking goats. This scene did not work as well for me as I wanted it to. I will say this
Hmm.
is
Okay.
probably my least favorite part, which is unfortunate, because I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. I love all those characters. I love how they work together. I don't know if it was just the writing, or if I just needed another scene or two to kind of get comfortable with Thor's kind of reaction to everybody in this group. But he just seemed very, I don't know, because he literally is waiting on a tree while under this tree, waiting to be called into battle while everyone else is dying. And that just didn't seem to be something that Thor would do. And I don't know. I think I'm missing the whole point of that, where, because at the end of this big scene, the
Yeah, well, I think
guy
I
Chris
yeah,
Pratt,
yeah.
what
Well,
is
I
his
think I
name?
think I think Quinn kind
Quinn,
of
Peter
summarize
Quinn.
kind of summarizes it pretty good. And I think that's why he is kind of portrayed as being like this aloof character. And it's because he's feeling empty, because a big part of this story is about his kind of um, reconnection and forgiveness and, repairing a relationship with Jane. And that's, kind of something that Quinn says. He's like, you can either, love and have heartbreak, or you can have nothing inside of you. And that's kind of what Thor's like. He's like, I don't have anything in me, because they never kind of reconciled or, acknowledged what had happened to their relationship. So I kind of saw it as that way. He just didn't have any sort of purpose or drive until, it was kind of at the last second, and he felt, compelled to jump into there. But yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming through with that. And then the Guardians leave. They go off on their next mission, which some people wanted a little bit more Guardians. I was okay with just a little bit. I think they were just kind of there because that's who we saw them together last at the end of Endgame. They kind of serve their purpose for the story, and then Thor is back. Him and Korg are headed back into, which was awesome. I love this part of the film because he gets like a tourist attraction. There are like all these cruise ships outside of it. It was amazing. They're doing tours. You're seeing little broken Mjölnir there. They're doing stage show with Thor and Loki. Matt Damon and Liam Hemsworth are playing the characters, which is fantastic.
That's
so
so
funny.
great.
And yeah, we're catching up there. We meet back up with Valkyrie, who is King Valkyrie now, played by Tessa Thompson, who is incredible. She is, running New Asgard, which is really cool. He's there. He's trying to reconnect and figure out what to do next. Right? He's back in the Viking realm now.
Right. Yeah. Well, and he had gotten a distress call from one of his friends, and he goes to try and figure out where she is, and there's this whole conversation about going to Valhalla and how she's not dead yet, and she's not going to get to Valhalla even though she's been like seriously wounded. Her arm
maybe your arm is in Valhalla.
Yeah, maybe. But that's when Thor first learns about Gorr, the God Butcher, and he's like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna have to figure something out. We're gonna have to go and talk to all the other gods, because if he's coming for one of them, he's gonna come for all of them, and he's got this weapon, and it's real bad. So he finds this. Well, he doesn't find it, but he knows of this place where all the gods kind of hang out on a Friday night, I guess, and it's called Omnipotence City, which I think is amazing. The name speaks for itself. And he's like, we gotta go. I need help. We need a ship. And they have like a pirate ship that they use for a kid's tourist thing, where it's like, you could be a Viking too. And so they take all the seats out of that ship. And, there's this great dynamic between Thor and all of his weapons. Right. So, throughout the first three films, you saw him, really love and take care of his hammer, and then his hammer got smashed to bits, and it was still in bits. Right, they actually put like a plate, like a display, so you could see it, like you said, and everyone's like looking at it, and it's all in these pieces. And so he doesn't have his hammer anymore, but he has his axe, which also has a name that's actually easy to pronounce, but I don't know what it is. It's like Oathbreaker, Stormbreaker. That's what it is.
Stormbreaker. Yeah.
Stormbreaker. And that's what he used to cut Thanos' head off. It's really great. But he has, they're trying to figure out a way for him to somehow use the Bifrost, which is the way that you travel in his world, to go to Omnipotence City. Meanwhile, on Earth.
Meanwhile, back on Earth, and to kind of catch us up here to where we're doing getting into trouble in New Valhalla, we catch back up with Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman. We find out that she's not doing so hot. She is in stage 4 of a cancer. They don't say what kind of cancer, but stage 4 of any kind is not a good kind. She's in there trying to get some chemotherapy treatments, but she doesn't really have time for that. She knows that her days are numbered, and her time is limited, so she wants to kind of do all the things she can do in the time that she has left. And while she's back at her kind of laboratory sort of thing, she starts looking through some Viking texts, and she sees in there that they believed that Mjolnir had some healing properties, and Mjolnir apparently starts to call out to her. We get a really cool flashback of when Jane and Thor were dating, and Thor's kind of watching her sleep, and Mjolnir is there, and he's like, hey buddy, he's like, make sure you always protect Jane, do what you can, thanks buddy. It's really pretty sweet. And then you see Jane at New Asgard there, looking over the remnants of Thor's hammer. And when Thor gets back to uh, New Asgard, and Gorr, the God Butcher, shows up to rain some terror to try to kill Thor, who shows up? None other than Jane Foster, aka Mighty Thor, wielding the hammer, wielding the outfit. That's where you get the sweet pose of her, looking all ripped, from the trailer. She shows up. Thor's like, wait, what? What's happening? Who are you? Take off your helmet. He does. He sees that it is Jane. He is as confused as Thor tends to be a lot of times. And the reconciliation project is on, but we have the reunited, and it feels so good, I guess you could say.
Yeah, no, it's a great coming together, because he's really taken aback, and he's like, what are you doing here, what's going on? And then they try and make small talk, which does not deal real well, because it's been like 8 years since they've seen each other. And and then of course it's like, well, you left me, and did I leave you? And no, I left you, and you weren't there to leave. And they're trying to make light of it, but are still clearly very attracted to each other, and still kind of interested in, talking and stuff. So it was really, I gotta say, we see her in the preview. We see Mighty Thor in the preview. I had no idea that was Jane Foster. I had no idea. The blonde hair and the helmet, I would have been lost too, I have to say.
Michaela and Thor were both confused by James showing up here at New Valhalla. But yeah, so we have kind of the team together. So we've got Thor, we've got Jane, we've got Korg, and we've got King Valkyrie, are all headed off to, like you said, Michaela, Omnipotent City. It's a gathering of the gods, and the god of gods, of course, is Zeus, who has a fancy lightning bolt. He is gathered here. He makes some pretty. He's like, okay, we're gonna do this thing, and then we're gonna have an orgy later. You're not gonna get invited if you keep acting up. But they're there. They need to get Zeus's lightning bolt, right? They think that that's probably the best way to fight Gorr, the God Butcher, right? I guess if you're gonna fight someone called the God Butcher, I guess you take your top god in with you. But I don't know. Is Zeus really willing to help? I don't know.
No. See, this Zeus is not like the Zeus that we would see with like Hercules, or in any of the other, Jason and the Argonauts. Like none of these gods they do not, they're not the same. So this Zeus is played by the brilliant Russell Crowe. He is old, he is fat, he's got this like Greek New Jersey accent. It's really amazing. He's just like he's got his lightning bolt, which is real cool. But he's like, I'm not gonna help you. I'm in the middle of a party, and you're not coming to the orgy later, and shame on you. And they go ahead and decide that they're gonna seal it. And it's a really funny scene, the way that they do it, because Jane is there in her Thor regalia. We got Valkyrie, we got Korg, we got the whole team, and it's, chandeliers are flying everywhere. It's really fun, but they end up getting the lightning bolts. We think they kill Zeus at this point, right? Because they put a lightning bolt right through him, and he kind of falls down, and we're like, oh man, you just killed Zeus. And he's like, you should never meet your heroes. I thought that was great. That's why, Joni Mitchell, I'm never going to meet you for that very reason. I don't want to lightning bolt.
It was really funny because he tells "Do not meet your heroes" to a bunch of kids who Thor is their hero to, which is why it's extra funny. But yeah, they're there. There's another pretty humorous thing. Zeus strips Thor of all of his armor, which leaves him naked, and everyone is passing out, seeing the naked Thor standing there, I guess, which is something that happens. But yeah, they get the lightning bolt. They allegedly kill Zeus in the process, but they get out of there. They are on their way to I don't know, it's like a shadow realm or something like that, because that's where Gorr the God Butcher is lurking. He is lurking in the shadows, so that's where Thor thinks that he is. They get there, and they have a wee bit of a battle. It doesn't go that good. There's supposed to be some prisoner kids there. They're gone, but Gorr's there. They have a fight. Doesn't go so well for our heroes, this one.
no, it's tough because all of the children have been kidnapped from New Valhalla. And one thing I did really like is one of the kids is uh he goes by Axel now, and there's this moment
Mm-hmm.
where he's like, "Oh, your name was Astrid," and he's like, "No, I go by Axel." And it was a really nice lesson in people using their proper names for each other. I thought that was great. But Axel is kind of the de facto leader of these kids that is in this this cage in the shadow realm. It looks like something out of He-Man. Did you get a lot of He-Man vibes and Masters of the Universe vibes in this film? Because I sure did.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even, just from the like the movie poster and like that font that they used, it definitely had that sort of vibe, with raising Stormbreaker up and getting the lightning and all that stuff. But yeah, little Axel is the descendant of Idris Elba's character Heimdall. So he's got the little yellow glowing eyes, and Thor's trying to teach him how to use those and be able to get the kids around and stuff. But yeah, they're not there. They meet up with Gorr. Like I said, they have a fight. They kind of almost get one up on Gorr, but not quite. And then, as they're trying to use the Bifrost to get out of there with Stormbreaker, Gorr grabs a hold of it. And bad news for our heroes because, as Zeus mentioned, he didn't have the key to this nether. I don't even know, is like in the center of the earth where you could go and make a wish. I forget what it was called, but I didn't have the key to it. But now he does because the key is Stormbreaker. So bad luck there. Bad luck there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So off they go. Well, let's see what else. They also find out there's a conversation that happens between Jane and Thor. He kind of opens up to her. They're on their ship. They're traveling through, using Stormbreaker for the Bifrost, and he finally says, I should have never let you go. I'm really sorry. Like, I want to be with you. And she lets him know that she has cancer. And that not only does she have cancer, but the only reason why she's still able to do all these things is because of the hammer, because she continues to use the hammer. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, the hammer is also draining her power. And she gets really sick after this big battle in the Shadow Realm. And gosh, everybody kind of takes a hit, right? Valkyrie's all jacked up. Korg is basically just a face of rock now.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
go back and they put Jane back in the hospital in New Valhalla, and it's a very sweet exchange between the two because he finally says he loves her, which he had never done before in any of the
Mhm.
films. And he was like, I don't know what's left of your life because stage 4 cancer is pretty serious. But I want to do that with you. I want to be with you there. And she's like, okay, well, then I can't, but I really want to help and be Mighty Thor. And he's like, no, I need you to stay here and just stay alive. And so then she's like, fine, go and come back and make sure you come back. And it's very sweet. But Thor, man, he runs into some trouble when he finally does meet Gorr the God Butcher on his own.
Yeah, that's right. He is off on his own to confront him at this center of the world kind of portal thing. We've got a Stormbreaker there. He's using as the key. It looks pretty cool, actually. Kind of plants it in the ground, and it's shooting this beam of energy kind of at this door to kind of slowly unlock it. And that's where he is taking all the children. So they're there. But Thor shows up. It's actually a really great scene. He's talking to the kids. He's like, "All right, you guys are Vikings," and all the kids are like, "Oh, I'm not. I was I was just there and got kidnapped." Which is pretty funny. But he's like, go get weapons, but hurry up. We don't have a lot of time. So all the kids like run off and they grab like sticks, and one kid's holding like a stuffed rabbit and like all this stuff. But then Thor blesses them all with a gift, the gift of thunder, and it's so awesome. Like he's like empowering these little kids, and you see the lightning kind of spreading out, like supercharging their little sticks and rocks and whatever they'd had found as weapons, and they're off to go fight these kind of shadow beasts that Gorr's able to unleash with his sword, and he's going to go battle Gorr himself, and they have a fight. It's not going so great, but then of course Jane, Mighty Thor, shows up. She has a pretty amazing thing as she's rushing through with Mjolnir and Gorr's there, and she's like, "You can call me Mighty Thor." And if you can't remember that, it's Dr. Jane Foster, which is pretty sweet. And she goes, they attack, they have a little battle, but too late, too little, too late. The door gets open, and they are through to this nether realm where Gorr can now basically wish all of the gods to be dead.
Yeah, which you think he's gonna do, but then Jane's there, and Jane knows. I don't know. I don't know if it's because she's been human and Thor is not human, but there's this really sweet exchange between all three of them, really. That, hey, just because the door is open doesn't mean that that's what you have to wish. You don't have to do that. What would you actually want? Do you really, there's no amount of death and destruction that's going to make your heart feel better because you've lost your daughter. So what do you really want? And of course, he really just wants to see his daughter again. And it's actually very beautiful because he makes that wish, and she kind of comes back to life and walks through this portal, and he's dying at this point because he's given up the sword.
The sword, the sword has been destroyed, so he's losing his life. And to kind of set that up, it is really beautiful because Gorr's like, "Aren't you going to come and attack me?" And Thor's like, at the end of times, I'm going to go spend these moments with her. And he goes and he's kind of cradling Jane, and Gorr's thinking back to the way that he was cradling his daughter, before she died. And then Jane kind of gives him the nudge that he needs to remember kind of what started all of this for him. And Gorr just wants to see his daughter back, and he is able to kind of have one last moment there before asking Thor to protect her, as he's passing into his version of Valhalla, I guess.
Yeah, let's hope there's a cooler god than the one he killed that's waiting for him. So it's really very sweet because there's this father-daughter exchange, and he's like, "I've missed you so much," and she's there just kind of holding him. And meanwhile, Jane is not doing well. She really only had one more go with Mjölnir, and she used it, and now her life force is really ending, but she's still keeping it very light and sweet. And she tells Thor that she's claimed her coin phrase. She's got it. She's got her catchphrase now. It's the best one yet. And they say they love each other, and then Jane dies, and it's very sad. And
that's right. Yeah, Jane dies. It is very sad. But Thor is now tasked with taking care of this little girl, and kind of to wrap this up there back in New Valhalla, they're just like hanging out, and she's being typical little kid daughters. "I want to wear these fuzzy slippers." He's like, "Well, all right. Well, don't tell me when your feet hurt later. Don't want to hear about that." So she puts on her boots, and they open up the door, and there's this big war coming, and then they go out, and Korg is kind of narrating through this last little bit, and says that it is love and thunder taking the field, and that's kind of where it ends, right? We get a little bit. Korg has told us before that little baby, I don't even know, whatever his species of rock creature is, they get made when two husbands, I guess, go to this lava place and hold hands for 30 days, and he's found Ralph. They're going to go and hold hands, so that's pretty nice. Maybe we'll get a baby, a Korg Junior or something here in the future. It kind of, like I said, recaps what Thor's doing with, I guess we should call this little girl love. I guess that's what we're to take away from that. And then we get into the credits, which are bombastic, very He-Man like, very very 80s type font.
It's amazing
kind of stuff. It is, yeah.
The end credits, I mean, we could talk about this movie a lot, but the end credits I thought were so great because every single section of fonts that came through, like, so that you would say, it would say directed by or produced by, right? And all of those were different fonts from the 1980s. So amazing. And if you just, if you've seen a lot of it, you're gonna, because there's the He-Man one, there's Thundercats. It's so cool. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they got their permission to do that, but it's super super awesome. And the soundtrack, the music behind as the end credits are happening is really great. And you feel really at peace and at closure. I mean, you're still very sad that Jane is gone, but at least now Thor has achieved a purpose, and his purpose is to love this little girl
Hmm.
and take good care of her. And and he's back to being the person that is the first one to jump into battle and not the last one waiting to be asked, like a prince or something. And so all is right, all is well.
All is right, all is well. Yeah, and the fonts are awesome. And if you see this like on the IMAX screen, they look like gigantic, like the size of like your house. Like when they come up on
Yeah.
screen too, they're just huge. So that was really super cool. And then of course, this being a Marvel film, we get a mid credit scene and a post credit scene. Mid credit scene, spoiler warning: Zeus not dead. I guess it's harder to kill Zeus than one might think, and he is. I don't even know what he's doing. He's telling him to rise. We are getting a Hercules, and it is played by none other than Roy Kent from Ted Lasso, which is amazing.
He's here, he's there, he's every effing where Roy Kent. But it's not Roy Kent. I mean, it's the guy who plays Roy Kent. I
That's
don't
right.
even know his name, but he knows his name. And all
His
of
his
you who
name
are
his
listening,
name is Brett Goldstein. Brett
Brad Goldstein.
Goldstein.
Brad Goldstein, you're amazing. Can't wait to see this. So great. Gosh, yeah, very nice Hercules. But yeah, yeah, you don't he Zeus is just like laying there with his women feeding him grapes, and he's like one of them's like, putting a band-aid on the hole that was made by the by the lightning bolt. It's really funny. But the post-credit scene, the that one's my favorite, because we see Jane one more time, only just in true like heaven-like fashion. She's there in
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
dress. She looks great. She's no longer sick. She's no longer in pain, and she's kind of in this cloud-like place. And Hemdall is there,
That's
and
right.
with his yellow orange eyeballs, and he thanks Jane for looking after his son, and then he welcomes her to Valhalla.
Yeah, that's right. So that gives us some sort of indication that maybe Jane's story is not over, and maybe Heimdall's story is not over, and that would be fine because Idris Elba should be in all the things all the time. So that's where we end this. Is kind of the final kind of arc for Thor for right now, at least. Anyway, I don't know if we'll get more Thor stories, but I have a good feeling that we'll probably at least hear more from a lot of these characters going forward. And that is it: Thor, Love, and Thunder. So, Michaela, just kind of looking at the movie, kind of overall, we kind of ran through it a little bit. Were there kind of certain like highlights? This movie was very very bright, very colorful. There were a lot of fun locations. What'd you think? How did it look? How did it sound? Sounded crazy.
Yeah, it sounded great. I thought that the soundtrack really was akin to the Taika Waititi's Thor Ragnarok. I thought that
Hmm.
he did a really great continuation of that. The set direction, or I don't know if I would call it the set direction, but I love New Asgard. I thought that was so awesome, and I love what they did with the Shadow Realm. I thought that looked pretty cool. And the fact that they were, I don't want to call them Easter eggs, but there were things that were definitely like, I swear the cage that held the children, that is in a He-Man. I watched a lot of He-Man growing up. That is a typical jail that they used in He-Man. It's so
Hmm.
crazy. So I love that part of it. There were parts that were a little clunky to me.
Hmm.
But overall, I mean, I really think that they should get mad props for the way that they created this universe, because it is very different, and it shows growth over time, which you would need to show since it has been 8 years since we
Hmm.
had seen Thor, right? So it's not only Thor who's grown up, but the city has, and all the other characters had as well.
Yeah, no, yeah, I like a lot of the theming stuff. I like the new Asgard stuff where kind of playing it as like this tourist attraction. I thought that was really great. I like the Shadow Realm was really cool because it was this moon, but it was small enough where you could see them like walking around on the surface of it. And it just visually, I thought that it looked really interesting. And yeah, of course the soundtrack is just Guns N' Roses greatest hits as we're going through there. So I guess depending on how you kind of like that stuff in there. I actually, coming out of the movie theater, I was talking with your husband about it last night and whether that worked for us. And I was like, I guess if I was going into battle, Guns N' Roses would be something, something pretty good to be listening to
Yeah.
if I'm going to be wielding Stormbreaker. But yeah, for me, I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought that was pretty good. And then of course, it's Taika Waititi, so it's very very kind of this weird sense of humor that he has and quippy. So I think you either kind of like that or you don't. And if you don't, then you really don't. And if you do, then you really do, and it's going to work for you. And I thought it worked for me. Natalie Portman back as Jane Foster, aka Mighty Thor. It seemed like she was probably not ever going to come back. I don't think that she enjoyed her time on Thor, but came back. Seems to have been enjoying it this time. What did we think about getting Jane Foster? Did you like her story and the way that went, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't like that she died. I mean, but I think that we needed an end to the whole Jane Foster thing because it had been strung along. I mean, he mentions her in a bunch of other of the Avenger movies, but we never see her. So it was like, if we either need to find another person that can play Jane Foster and keep the story going, or something needs to happen. We need a closure. So I like that, that they gave us closure. I will say I saw an interview with her and she seemed pretty happy that now, when she had first joined the Thor team, she and Chris Hemsworth, they had just met their prospective spouses, and now they have kids, and the kids were all hanging out on set. And so there's a lot more closeness that you can see, I think, better in this film. Their chemistry seems to actually work. It didn't really work for me in the first couple of films, but I liked it much better this time. But yeah, so I am hopeful though that maybe we'll see a Jane Foster in the future, maybe not Natalie Portman. But given that she's in Valhalla hanging out, man, that means anything's possible, right?
Anything is always possible in the MCU, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I really liked their story. I love, kind of between this weird He-Man, Axl Rose romp it was really kind of the story about, forgiveness and reconnection and, filling your heart back out after years of being emptiness. I loved kind of the themes of the story. And then I also loved, of course, Christian Bale as Gorr. I've been thinking about it ever since I walked out of the theater last night. If there's ever been an MCU villain that I liked as much and was as good as Christian Bale was in the movie last night, and maybe you say Thanos, but he had a bunch of time on screen to build that character out. But as a one-off villain, he was amazing.
Amazing. I mean, but he couldn't be anything else. It's Christian Bale. I mean, everything he touches is awesome. Right? I mean, even Newsies, which we've covered on this show. I mean, maybe so good. No, it's true.
He did touch Newsies. Yeah.
He did touch it. He was amazing as Jack Kelly. Come on. No, don't leave me hanging. It's true. Everybody who loves Newsies knows that it's all because it was all Christian Bale. But no, he's amazing. What I loved about that, though, was the backstory behind it, because we never really understand. Like for Thanos was this huge enemy for dozens and dozens of Marvel movies, and you never know really why. Like, why does he think that just by, getting rid of half the world, that it's doing it a favor? Like, where did he get that idea? You don't know any of that. But it really struck me as a in this new phase after Endgame, right? We have really personal stories and lessons that we're learning from our villains. So in Doctor Strange, the Scarlet Witch, she became this horrible villain, but she became that way because of the deep sense of sorrow and pain she felt at losing the love of her life, and then not being able to be near the children that she created. The same sort of thing was with this. And so I think that it's hitting audiences very differently than like Thanos or the Ragnarok, where it was like, I'm just here to destroy stuff and I want everything to burn. This had real reasons behind it. So I think it definitely hit me differently than the previous Thors, for sure, but mostly pretty much every other Marvel that happened before Endgame.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, it was excellent, and really, I mean, the cast was all excellent. You have your kind of main characters there. There's four Oscars, which you probably don't don't associate with the MCU, but Natalie Portman, Christian Bale, Russell Crowe, and Taika Waititi are all Oscar winners, kind of bringing this thing to the front. So I like this a lot. It's been kind of hot and cold on the reception I've seen from it online. People are really into it or really not into it, and I was really into it. I liked it a lot. But any final thoughts on Thor? I guess before we send the God of Thunder off to, I don't know,
Nah.
relax, have a stein of
Yeah.
the God of Thunder, little Mjolnir.
No, I mean, I think I've said pretty much everything. It's a fun ride. It's worth your time. And you know, if you haven't seen the other Thors, you're not going to miss out because it is kind of a compact film. It would be helpful, but it's certainly not necessary.
Yeah, I think they do a pretty good job of addressing everything that you need to know from the other Thors, especially like we said with Korg doing kind of those histories of Thor. He does one on Jane, and then kind of a third one to kind of fill you back in on Thor. So yeah, definitely go give it a watch. Let us know what you think about Thor, what you thought about this new installment, and let us know if you make a God of Thunder and a Mjolnir, or if you have any other good cocktail suggestions for Thor. Let us know. Send us pictures, all that stuff. You can do that on our social media. It's on Instagram and Twitter at Drink the Movies, and on Facebook.com/Drink the Movies. You can go to our website and see the pictures of the little cocktails that we made. You can see the picture of me standing in front of the movie poster all alone because Michaela is in Colorado. We had to go see these separately, but that's okay. That's okay. That happens sometimes, but we're willing to do it for for Drink the Movies. So, Michaela, if people need to, if they've put down Mjolnir, they've went into a time of peace. Maybe they have some extra time on their hands. Maybe they want to listen to a podcast, and maybe they want to give their favorite podcast a nice 5-star review. Where should they go to that?
You can all find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere where Anchor podcasts are distributed. We are Drink the Movies, and we make amazing cocktails. Sometimes not so amazing, but for the most part, we make amazing cocktails. We talk about amazing movies, and we do it. We can do it in the comfort of your home on your way to work. Yeah, we have 2 drops a week. And we've really been knocked out by how much this community has grown just in the last couple of months. So join us. And tell your friends, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, because the more reviews we get, the more Drink the Movies love we can spread to the world. And who doesn't need more love and cocktails?
No, that's right. Everyone needs more love and cocktails, just like we need love and thunder. But for now, Michaela, I think that I'm ready to have another stein of this, a celebratory stein, as we sail off into the sunset on our Viking ship, pulled by our, yelling goats or screaming goats, whatever they were called. So why don't we do that? We will mix up another one of these, and we will talk to everyone next time on
Drink the
the
Movies.
Movies. He's here. He's there. He's every effing where. Hercules.
Hercules.